Okay, my spiritual seekers, my enlightened ones, I'm going to cover a very exciting, interesting, and also quite triggering topic today. One that's certainly been something that's been a part of my spiritual vocabulary and psyche for a long time. And it's to do with this notion of 5D, fifth dimensional consciousness. Um, People believing that's an ascension. So we're going to get into that a little bit today. Now, um, what is 5D? So let's look at what people label 5D as. So, of course, um, from a perspective of sacred and ancient geometry, people talk about us moving from the third density or third dimension into fifth dimensional consciousness, which people suggest is going to be where humanity lives in love and peace and happiness and lives from the heart chakra as opposed to anything else. You can also look at sacred geometry. There's some amazing teachers like Robert Edward Grant and people like that talk about what fifth dimensional consciousness is intuitively. People experience what they believe is fifth dimensional consciousness and more through plant medicine and experiences with things like DMT. But I really want to kind of demystify and not diminish what I believe it is, but actually bring it down to something that's, first of all, understandable. And secondly, and most importantly, that you could integrate it into your life today. Because let's be honest, there is a whole swathe of groups and teachings and individuals, and in my opinion, keep us further from the truth when we're talking about things like federations and galactic starships and all of these things. And I firmly believe that you are a manifestation of your consciousness, and that consciousness is a very ancient thing that exists within your body for a period of time. And you have within you the capacity to live in the 5th, 7th, 12th, 27th dimension if you choose to do so. But it is a process that you go through. And there is very, very much a reason that you are here in this body, feeling what you feel, going through what you're going through, and experiencing what you're experiencing. So the point is this: can you live in 5D consciousness in the third dimension? Let's call this the third dimension, or the matrix, or the reality, the world that we live in. Well, the answer is yes. And the answer is yes without all the mysterious notions and ideas and predictions and all of the things that are said. And there are people that have done this. There are people that have lived in fifth dimensional consciousness on our planet. And we know them as sages and avatars and great masters that have lived and have opened humanity to a new level of awareness and understanding. Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, Zoroaster, Mary Magdalene, Prophet Muhammad. There's a long list of people that lived on this planet in a higher level of consciousness while the planet had a collective level of consciousness. So 5D is accessible to you now. It doesn't have to have a label. It is a thing, and I'm going to explain what it is, and I'm going to show you how to get to it. So let's do this. Okay, so let's get into this. And I put the title as "You Have Been Lied to About 5D" because there is a way to live in this higher level of consciousness, or the illusion of this higher level of consciousness. And it really does come back to the same thing. It's about your ability to love yourself unwaveringly and your capacity to receive without judgment, and your ability to let go of the past. But we're going to give you a bit more of a specific understanding so you can move forward with this. And I hope by the end of this transmission, you will understand a bit more about how to live in fifth dimensional energy and consciousness. So this is why we've been lied to. So the whole notion of 5D has really become very vague, very mystical, and very unusable in many ways. People are waiting for events, leaders, saviors, some sort of ascension that's going to happen, some sort of thing that's going to save us all and bring us back into this new world with an external deity, a savior. And it sounds very familiar, right? Like things we've experienced before. And people are waiting for ascension moments, like on this date or with this planetary alignment, or when this person saves the world, this, or when this country topples, or when silver hits this price, or when this economy happens, and all of these things that people do. But you see, all that's doing is creating the same trap that we've always been in the third dimension. It's just another form of the matrix, but a very sophisticated, more advanced form of the matrix. So our real lives stay heavy, reactive, constrained. We live in hope and desire all the time, and there's nothing wrong with living in hope. But when you put your entire happiness and your peace and your life on hold because you believe that a savior is coming to make things okay, then that's a problem, be it on this planet or other planets. And look, there's no getting away from the fact that our planet is changing a lot and consciousness is rising amongst humanity. It's been happening for a long time. It will continue to happen, but it isn't going to be some great solar flash or some event that's just going to instantly upgrade humanity, everyone to that level of consciousness. This is all about self-sovereignty. This is all about you understanding that you are the driver of your experience based on how you feel, how you operate. So the 5D consciousness is not something that you wait for. It's something that you learn to operate from. So let me give you some what it is not. 5D is not escapism from the world. It's not about leaving the body. Although those things can help, things like meditation, astral travel, all those things can really help. It's not about that. It's not about bypassing emotion. It's not about this sort of love and light, denial, disassociation. It's not about waiting for starships and politicians and saviors and the next person to come along to save humanity. And it's also not about being in a permanent high state where you can't be sad, where you can't be angry, where you can't be lustful, where you can't be living in regret at times. And it also isn't about being calm only when life is easy. It's grittier than that. Because you see, you came here to have an amazing life through experience. And those experiences have to be polarized. Those experiences have to have different essences and energies in them. Why? Because you came here to experience that. You came here to have an amazing life. You came here to learn. You came here to grow. You're in this body for a very limited amount of time, but you came here to grow. You came here to evolve, adapt, and overcome. So if someone out there right now, be it them a friend or a teacher or someone in your spiritual community, is claiming that they've accessed the fifth dimension, and there's no judgment about this, but they also have these tendencies, they're highly reactive. They're looking for the savior. They're addicted to outrage. They're constantly triggered by things. They collapse under pressure. They when things don't go their way, then they are not embodying that essence. Because why? The fifth dimensional consciousness, that essence is calm, it's slow, it's almost boring, it's serene, it's peaceful, it's relaxed, it's just ebb and flow, ebb and flow, ebb and flow. And we're not here all to walk around like we are ascended masters. As I said, we're here to have the experience. We're here to go through what we need to go through to bring ourselves to a new understanding and a new level of consciousness where the world changes as a consequence of that which we become, not that which we're aspiring to do. Like, I'm going to achieve fifth dimensional consciousness by doing these mantras and affirmations and all these things. It doesn't work like that. So this is the core misunderstanding of the whole thing. People assume that 5D is a place that we're going to, a bit like Atlantis or something similar to that. It is not. 5D is a mode of perception. Who do you feel you are? And it really is about your capacity to love yourself unwaveringly. Because if you love yourself, then everything else stems from that very notion. So let's look into what, in my opinion, 5D actually is. So 5D is having a wider perception of what reality is, plus being internally calm and stable. So when your life has fear, worry, regret, trauma, anger, desire, resentment, all of those energies in it, it narrows your perception because the ego is driving the show. You cannot think laterally when you are driven by those energies of fear. And in survival-based consciousness, often called the 3D, which we are all currently leaving, but it's in a different way to what we believe or what we thought we knew about this. But in that survival energy, your perception narrows, urgency dominates, you're always busy, you're a busy fool, everything feels very personal. People feel very triggered, right? And action only comes from force. I'm going to overcome this. I need to do better. I keep making mistakes. What I want you to understand is this, that it is very, very, very rare if you are watching this content and you are resonating with this, you are a very rare individual, because for 98 to 99% of the global population right now, they are in those energies of a narrow perception, anger, urgency, fear, worry, uncertainty. Everything's very personal. You notice people are very triggered right now. It's very easy to trigger people because, and this is why I also believe that there's an enormous opportunity to be the change maker of your own life. It's so easy now, I think, because everybody's so distracted and triggered and angry and living from cortisol. And the system, this 3D system that's wrapped around us, is not designed to keep us in it. It's a manifestation of our consciousness. So it's where the collective energy is. So if your energy is different to the collective energy, it's very easy for you to have more profound results in your life. And this is how we do it. So in 5D consciousness, your perception widens up, opens up, urgency drops around everything. Just relax your jaw and drop your shoulders and you become less urgent about life. Choice increases naturally because of the flow that you're in, and actions become a lot cleaner. And timing improves. So this is what you feel like when you slow down and you regulate your nervous system and you practice non-reaction and you just love everything and everyone from, I'm not saying you have to do this all the time, and you just show that peace and compassion and love without condition, time changes. Linearity starts to leave. Like you start to live in a quantum energy, almost like you're expanding to a different dimension or something's opening up for you. So you're interfacing with reality at all times, whether you like it or not. You can't turn yourself off. So you also can only be in an energy of neutral or positive or negative. And you must learn that fifth dimensional being consciousness is neutral or positive only. So when things are good, you're positive. When things are bad, you're neutral. That's it. We don't regret. We don't worry. We don't stress. We don't fear. And if it's something urgent to deal with, we deal with it. But when we live in that fifth dimensional consciousness, your default position is, well, if something bad is happening, all I have to do is neutralize that for myself, how I feel about it. That's fifth dimensional energy. Because it's a knowingness that on a greater level that there's a reason this is happening. It's beyond my understanding. It's happening for me on some level. And for me to feel comfortable around this experience, I have to neutralize it. And when I neutralize it, that will begin to create conditions where the solution to the problems I'm having will come, be it health, money, relationships, whatever. Whereas most people, when bad things are happening, they go hard into reverse, negative, 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 fight, 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 conflict, anger, worry, insecurity, jealousy, loss, grief, all those things. And they try and fight their way to resolutions. And you just end up going round and round and round and round the matrix in circles and circles. So it's the 5D is not a different planet. It's not a different timeline. You're not going to develop wings. You're not going to suddenly wake up and your bed's made of crystal. You're not going to suddenly like be in Atlantis or Lemuria or any of these fabled places that are talked about, you are just going to be living from a different operating system. And just an example that came to me. So let's say, as an example, that two people woke up every day for a week, and one of them had to watch for 5 hours a day. They had to watch the news all day, every day, about the wars and the new diseases, and this is happening and that's happening, and all those different things are happening. Okay. And they had to watch those for 5 hours a day. The second person in the fifth dimensional timeline, which is the same place, just a different thought, has to watch things like Mary Poppins, amazing funny comedy films, films that uplift you, films that inspire you. So they're both watching things for 5 hours a day, religiously for a week. What I want you to understand is if that was the interface that they're having with the earth, who would have the most positive outcomes in their energy after watching those things? Because one person would feel what? Fearful, angry, lustful, vengeant, judgmental, angry at politicians, angry at leaders, angry at the world. Why is this all going to hell in a handcart? One would feel they want to hug their kids closer. They feel motivated. They want to go and spend time with their family. They want to go and create their own thing. Why? Because the information is much the same as your consciousness, your state of mind, your state of being. Your job, it's not to go and watch 5 hours of movies a day, every day, but what your job is to keep yourself in neutral energy or better. Because when you do that, you become imperturbable. You can't be stopped. The reason people fail and drop back into this 3D consciousness is because they get caught in the tidal wave of the events, the news, what's happening, the truth of community, all these different things that are so negative for your capacity to grow. So it's neutral or better. Same world, different operating systems. Now, here's an interesting one. Of course, if you watch 5 hours of news a day for a week, your nervous system would be frazzled, and people don't understand this, but your nervous system is the gateway. It's the gatekeeper to all of these things. It's the golden gates to all of these things. You cannot access a higher dimensional consciousness from a dysregulated nervous system. And this is why people have such profound results when they are deep meditators. The great thing is you don't need to do that because this is as effective, regulating your nervous system. So it's not only about the conditions outside of you, how you react to things, how you interface with the world, what you digest. Of course, discernment is crucial. Don't watch negative things, not out of ignorance, but don't spend your life watching the news. Don't get caught up in those things. But more importantly, you dysregulate your nervous system when you judge yourself, who you are when nobody's listening or watching. Who do you feel you are within yourself? So you must learn to regulate your nervous system. Of course, a lot of the work I do, which will be detailed in this video, is about that. So let's get into this a little bit more. And I'll explain this very simply. What we call dimensions are not locations. They are levels of integration. So when the nervous system operates in survival, this is how the planet's been for thousands of years. Force, manipulation, control. Notice how those things aren't working anymore for a lot of people. Linear thinking, constant scanning for threat, control, effort. When your nervous system comes into regulation, you automatically start to operate from a different perspective and level of consciousness. Intuition comes, inspired action comes, lateral solutions to problems you thought were insurmountable, inspired action in the direction of your travels. This is really what people are describing when they describe higher dimensions, not escapism or floating or, entering the multiverse, or it's about capacity. Your capacity to receive a new life is directly correlated to the capacity within your nervous system. It's great, isn't it? Because why? Because this gives me sovereignty. Everything in our universe with conscious awareness has free will. If you are not living from the higher dimensional consciousness, it's because you are still living as the victim of the third dimensional timeline. Simple as that. And you don't have the capacity to operate within that. So here's the formula. Old myth, 5D myth, ascend, escape, transcend. How often did we see that for? How many people tried that and realized that wasn't the truth? I'm sure many of you did. The reality is regulation, calm, capacity, awareness, expansion within. Everything's always working out for me. Nothing's ever going wrong. Everything's always working out for my good, better and best. Your perception widens to a more lateral, quantum, open way of thinking. Reality responds with millions of different solutions to problems you have or had or didn't know the outcome to. It's amazing how it works. And this is why most of the 5D teachings fail. It bypasses the body, number one. It focuses on thought, belief, and frequency. It tries to make you operate in a state that you cannot sustain. And it ignores biology. This is it. Your nervous system, your capacity, your vessel, this amazing, beautiful vessel you've been given. And that's why people have progress, be it with financial or spiritual or love or whatever, but it snaps back. That's why spiritual awakenings are fleeting. That's why breakthroughs collapse. That's why clarity fades for people, because trying to live from the fifth dimensional timeline or in a higher level of consciousness without, not about doing the work, but about regulating your nervous system, it collapses. So your job is to do what? It's to become sovereign. It's to love yourself. It's to allow things just to be as they are without resistance. It's to just move through the world like wearing a silk robe, just no attachments, no aversions, and make the best of everything whilst knowing that as you expand your awareness, something better is coming. And it's so good. It's so, so, so good. So this is what 5D looks like in real life. It's actually, sorry to break it to you, but it's quite boring in some ways. Calm under pressure. Slower to react to things. Much clearer boundaries. Not in an egotistical way, but much clearer boundaries. Who gets your energy? Fewer impulsive decisions, only inspired decisions. Less forcing and more trusting in timing. Why? Because there is an intelligence that's operating through you that's far beyond your comprehension, and the 3D timeline blocks you from it. That's all. Not perfection, not mastery, not I'm going to wear a wizard's hat and start floating around. Stability, calmness, calm awareness. So the real shift. 5D is not something you achieve. It emerges when your nervous system feels safe enough to allow it to widen. It's not something you ascend into, you settle into it. And I know a lot of you will feel this on an instinctive, intuitive level. So what I'd say is learn how to regulate your nervous system. Learn how to become unlimited within your body. And I'm not talking about things like green juices and things like that. They're all useful. I'm talking about nervous system capacity. You can only be as abundant as your nervous system will allow without being fearful. You can only have as much love in your life as your nervous system gives you the capacity to do so. And once you understand this on a granular level, day to day, minute to minute, who am I thinking I am? Who do I believe I am? Do you believe that everything's going to be okay within you? Then it will be okay. Do you believe that everything's going wrong and you're the victim of your circumstances and nothing ever goes right for you? Then it will be so. But you'll be stuck in that timeline. That's What we talk about this bifurcation of energy that's happening, where one set of people are going down this timeline, staying in the 3D, where it's about fear and worry and drama and stress, and people are getting illnesses and disease and all these things that we know are happening because we're understanding more about fear and cortisol and you know lifestyle, sedentary lifestyles, all these things that are happening. And there's this second phase of humanity that's opening up that's called fifth dimensional consciousness, where what? We're free, we're sovereign, we're abundant, we have love, we have community, we have slowness, awareness, compassion, freedom, choice. I want to ask you this question before I end this video. How can you possibly move into that fifth dimensional timeline if your nervous system is frazzled and you live in fear and you're worried about what's going to happen next? It's about understanding how really, truly powerful you are and that you control your reality based on who you are within your nervous system. And when you learn to understand that, the whole game will change. Bye for now.